Welcome to the Lighthome Sustainable Design podcast series. We talk with the architects and builders about green design and homes that really suit the way we love to live.
I'm Sarah Bell, and today I'm talking with Lighthome Design Ambassador and Architect Ed Ewers from Ed Ewers Architecture. And today we're talking about his dual occupancy project in Geelong. So Ed, what's happened since we last spoke to you about the project?
Well, what's happened is that we've managed to finish all our documentation. We've had our internal finishes and joinery approved, and it's all sitting with a building surveyor waiting for a permit.
All right, fantastic. So when will building start?
At this stage, we expect building to start at the end of August.
All right, fantastic. So how will the process be different from building a typical just non-dual occupancy home, I guess?
Well, for starters, there's two of everything,
Yeah.
which is stating the obvious, and also, I suppose, it's there's a complexity in all the services and the infrastructure that has to be provided to the site because we're doubling up.
Sure. So have you found it difficult to kind of get those services and infrastructure for the project, or?
Look, it's not difficult, it's just onerous, I suppose. It's timely. There's a number of different supply authorities, sewer, water, and power probably being the slow ones. But they've all been ticked off now, and we've paid our headworks charges, so we're right to go.
All right. So if someone was wanting to do their own dual occupancy project, they probably do need to understand that each stage is going to be different from a regulation point of view, I guess. So what are the preparation steps that you need to do before building with kind of regulations and seeking council approval and kind of development applications and all that jazz?
Well, the development applications commence with town planning, or which is what we call it in Victoria, like a DA in New South. And obviously they have higher requirements where you're increasing the density of a block of land. So basically for multi-dwellings, the stipulations or the boxes you need to tick are greater, and they are provision of car parking, of private open space and amenity, as in backyards, areas for wheelie bins, areas for clotheslines, areas that will receive sufficient northern sunshine. They're part of the design matrix that needs to be considered and checked off as part of a planning application.
Sure. So are there different kinds of permits for everything?
Well, the first phase is a planning permit, and in this case, it was a planning permit for more than one dwelling on a block. And that planning permit, as I said, looks at the amenity of the likely occupants and also the adjacent residents in light of traffic, on-site parking, amenity. Yeah.
Sure. So will this take much longer than your typical build for, say, one like just single home?
Yeah, sure. There's no doubt it takes longer because there are more stakeholders in the neighbourhood, and probably more areas that require assessment from a council, because you're bringing more dwellings, more people, more requirements on the infrastructure onto that piece of land. So that's the planning component. First of all, we get a planning permit, and that permit says that the proposal meets the objectives of the design overlay for the area, in that it provides those amenity and services that we've just spoken about. Then we go ahead and we do contract documentation, where we prepare construction drawings, engineering drawings, interior design, layouts, colours, finishes, schedules, and then we take all that to a building surveyor for a building permit. And the building permit differs from a planning permit in that they are interested in construction standards and knowing that the building will meet the required building codes and Australian standards for construction. And probably the one that's most different from a single dwelling is the fact that in this project we have 2 units attached through a party wall. Well, we have fire considerations and acoustic considerations so that occupants of either dwelling are protected from one another from fire or from noise.
Sure. All right. So, what will your role be in the building process? I guess how does an architect add value in the building process after the design's been done?
Yeah, well, the design component obviously is a very important part of an architect's role in adding value and helping a developer develop a site. But thereafter, there are other areas where we really can contribute in looking at how a dwelling will be built and the most efficient means of construction and choice of materials, and thereafter in aiding with any problems inherent to the land, like latent conditions or things that might occur during construction that require perhaps an expert eye. Yeah.
All right. Sure. All right. Well, thank you for speaking with us today, Ed. It's great to hear that the project is coming along nicely, and we'll be speaking with Ed again in a couple of weeks about the project, just to see how it's going after they've started building. All right, so thank you again, Ed.
Cheers. Thank you.